feeling stressed? Don't worry, boo, just chill out. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Samad. Since you guys liked the video about Porto that I made recently, which you can watch here if you haven't already, I have more recommendations for you. And this time it's the top 5 things that you must do in Lisbon. Don't forget to like this video if you like content like this. Definitely subscribe to my channel. It really helps me a lot to understand that you guys like travel content and recommendation videos like this. So yes, let's get started. Subscribe! Okay, the first recommendation that I have for you is for you to go to a seafood restaurant called Ramiro. The first time we ever saw Ramiro was actually during Anthony Bourdain's TV show. I think it was No Reservations, and it looked absolutely incredible. I trust everything that Anthony Bourdain ever recommends. If he finds any food delicious, I'll be like... So Ramiro was definitely on the top of the list of places to go in Lisbon, and it 100% did not disappoint. It's probably one of the busiest restaurants that I've ever been to while traveling, but it was not expensive at all. The service was so fast. I've got a few tips for you though about Ramiro, so just remember these 7 tips that I'm going to share with you, okay? The first tip about Ramiro is definitely go to Ramiro before 6 p.m. Don't bother going for dinner, go for like tea time, you know, like 4 o'clock, because if you go after 6 p.m, you're gonna be in a queue for 2 whole hours. You know, I love food a lot, but I'm so impatient, so I rather just go early to get food in my stomach, you know? Number 2, when you are in the queue, and we were in the queue for like 10 minutes because we were there before 6 p.m, you know, there's a non-sequential number system, so you have to take like a number ticket. Whatever random number you selected on that number ticket thing, it will pop up in the screen, and then that's your turn to go and get your table. Number 3, while you are waiting, there's actually a beer dispenser in the waiting area. Number 4, please definitely try the barnacles, or I think they call it like dinosaur claws or dinosaur fingers. It's really strange looking. They're like sea snails basically. Well, they're barnacles, but they just look really creepy, but they were really interesting, and I think I've never seen barnacles anywhere at all other than when we were in Lisbon. So I would definitely recommend you try that if you want to try something like super specific to Portugal. Number 5, order the scarlet shrimp and the crab because they're huge. They're so big. And if I'm not mistaken, it was not that expensive either. Even though Ramiro is really popular and they attract tons of tourists and also locals, the prices are really reasonable, and we were like kings and queens while we were there. We ordered crab, we ordered prawns, we ordered shrimp, we ordered barnacles, we had wine. It was so good and it was so inexpensive. So definitely order that. You will not regret it. Number 6, for dessert, make sure you order the steak sandwich. Apparently in Ramiro, it's like a tradition to end your meal with a steak sandwich. I know it sounds a little bit heavy and a little bit strange, but trust me, it's so delicious. It's really simple. It's literally just bread, steak, some garlic, and then bread again. And when you eat it for dessert, it's actually a really good cap to your dinner. Like, we loved it a lot. It was really good. And number 7, the last tip is don't go on Mondays because they're closed on Mondays. Okay, the next thing that I would really like to recommend you to go to is anything to do with tiles. Now,
I've mentioned this before in my video about Porto, about the historical significance of Portuguese tiles and how they've contributed immensely to the culture of Portugal.
And in Lisbon, you actually have the opportunity to go to the National Tile Museum, for example, and see an amazing archive and collection of Portuguese tiles that have been in Lisbon for like centuries. They're all hand painted and they're just like immaculate. Some of them have been restored and some of them are just in amazing condition. As a whole, it's astounding. And another place that you should go to if you love Portuguese tiles is, in English it's called Palace Fronteira,
but in Portuguese, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna butcher the language now, but I'm gonna try and attempt to actually pronounce this.
Palácio dos Marqueses de Fronteira.
Oh no!
It's actually a palace that still houses a family of Marqueses in Lisbon. So there are people actually living there, and therefore you are actually not allowed to take pictures inside the palace. However, there is a tour guide who has all the information about the historical significance of that palace. She or he will tell you every single thing about the family, about what that palace is all about the rooms, about the emblems and everything. It was really fascinating, and the tiles once again blew my mind away. These two things, the Tile Museum and the Palace Fronteira, is definitely two spots that you cannot miss if you love Portuguese tiles. The third thing that I would like to recommend you to do is to book a yacht ride on the Tagus River. This was something that I did with my partner and two of my really close friends, and we just wanted to have a really nice bougie day out, and I found a yacht ride service on Airbnb. It included like a glass of port and a guy that would tell you stories about the buildings along the Tagus River, and we booked the ride to see the sunset along the river and along Lisbon. It was truly a beautiful experience. It was so relaxing, and it was just a really nice time to spend with my friends and my partner, and I think that's one of like my favorite memories of Lisbon while we were there. I would definitely recommend you to do it, especially as a couple or as a family. It's just really fun, and it's also really nice to see Lisbon from the river itself. It's just a completely different point of view, and yep, recommend it. The fourth thing that I would like to recommend you to do, and this is quite a funny one, is to ride scooters along the riverside in Lisbon. It is so fun. While we were there are a bunch of like scooters that you can rent out by companies like Lime, and all you have to do is like download the app and scan a QR code, and then you can ride on the scooter for however long you want, and then it will just be connected to your bank card, and you'll just pay whatever amount that you have to pay after you've played with the scooter. What we did was we rented the scooter, and we actually did like a whole tour of like Bellum and the riverside and the monuments. It was so fun. Like, I think if you're just wanting a day out just to enjoy the sunshine and just the environment and everything, scooting along in those little rented scooters is a really fun idea. And we actually went from like Bellum Tower all the way to like the monastery, which is near the Bellum bakers that do the Pasteis de Natas or Pasteis de Bellums. I would definitely recommend you do that because it's just such a fun memory to have, and the roads are safe and wide, and you can even stop by to have some wine and some cheese at the side of the river. Definitely recommend it. Number 5.
This might be controversial to a lot of Portuguese people or to a lot of travelers alike, but I don't necessarily think that Pasteis de Bellum is the best egg tart. This is based on my own personal preference and my opinion, so please don't get offended by this opinion.
So the egg tart that I actually really like is the Pasteis de Nata from Time Out Market, and it is by this company called Mantejaria. And actually it was recommended to us by Portuguese locals, and they actually also said that it was better than the Bellum one. So I mean, the Bellum one you should go to because that's actually the first bakery that invented the egg tarts.
And they have like this whole interesting fact about, you know, there's like 3 people that know the ingredients and none of them can travel together. They have to travel one at a time because if all of them die at once, then the secret ingredient will die with them and stuff.
It's not the case for the one at Time Out Market in Lisbon. That one is by far, to me, the best one that exists in Lisbon, and I have eaten so many Pasteis de Natas, like I could have become a Pasteis de Nata. That's how much I ate it.
There's usually a queue every single time. The queue goes by really fast, and the Pasteis de Nata is super cheap. It's something like €1 per Pasteis de Nata or something, so you can just order 6 and share amongst yourself, or just be like me and eat the whole box.
100% get a food coma from eating Pasteis de Nata from Mantejaria. Okay?
Bonus recommendations!
So I've got 2 bonus recommendations for you. The one is to go to the Fado Museum. I didn't make this a main recommendation because I do think that Fado is very subjective, so you might hate it, you might love it. I personally really do love it, and there is a Fado Museum in Lisbon that you can go to learn about all of the Fado singers from Portugal, and it is really detailed. They have stories about countless of individuals that are so talented and have beautiful voices, and they also have like documentaries and everything. So I would recommend it if you are interested in Fado itself. And the second recommendation for you is to go and check out this speakeasy bar called Ulysses. It's a cocktail bar and it is located somewhere in Lisbon. I'll hook you up down in the description box below, so don't worry. This bar is so fascinating. It's owned by this one guy who is just, let's say, an interesting character. He opened up this bar right next to a place that he owns, and it fits about like 10 people at once, so it's a really tiny bar, and technically speaking, you are not allowed to take photos inside. Because of the size of the bar, literally the stools are just like right across from each other. So if you have 10 people fitted in that bar, it's just awkward to take out a camera and take photos of your cocktails or take photos of yourself and whatever it is. I mean, not to say that you're not allowed to do it, but the owner actually encourages you to like ask permission before you take photos, because he has this mentality of when you go out to a bar, when you are having cocktails with new people in your space, you should socialize and you get to know everyone and build memories through actually socializing and sharing similar passions and love for alcohol and cocktails and Lisbon in general.
We really had a nice time in that bar. It was a very interesting night because while we were there, we ended up talking to the owner about really deep stuff, like sometimes political, and it did get heated with a woman who was Northern Irish.
If you want a really nice, interesting cocktail experience, and if you want something unique like that in Lisbon, go check out Ulysses and meet the owner. He's really a character. Okay guys, Lisbon is one of my favorite European cities ever, next to Porto, and I just want to share all of these experiences with you guys as well. These experiences actually made my trip just like a million times better and just a million times more fun. So I hope that you take these recommendations to consideration and that you just enjoy your time while in Lisbon. And I hope you fall in love with the city as much as I did. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like this video if you like content like this. Subscribe to my channel for more insider recommendations and unique experiences. And I will see you next time. Bye!